Well, hello. I cannot believe the number one documentary, I think, in history, Tiger King. Is it number one in history, Jeff?
That's what we've been told.
That's crazy. This is Jeff Lowe himself from the documentary Tiger King. It's amazing to talk with you. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. A little bit tired, as you might imagine, but
I'm sure. How is life now that did you even think that this would happen after this documentary?
I had no clue. I didn't know a person could do so many interviews in a lifetime, more or less in a week. It's been crazy.
That is so crazy. Yeah, no, I can't imagine the amount of interviews that you're doing. That's so
Hundreds.
crazy.
Yeah.
I have a couple of questions for you. I won't take a lot of your time. Number one, I wanted to ask, how are the animals doing right now? I think a lot of people kind of have questions as far as are the same animals that Joe Exotic owned. Do you still? I mean, are those the same animals that you own today? And how are they doing since all this?
We do actually have all the animals that Joe left behind. We haven't gotten rid of anybody. And Lauren and I had a bunch of animals ourselves when we came here in 2016. So everyone's doing great. We have regular vet checkups on a almost on a it's a monthly, but it's actually every 3 weeks. We have our vet come in and she does a walkthrough, checks on everybody, and everybody's doing great.
So awesome. Now, one random question. I saw in the documentary that Joe Exotic would serve expired meat. Is that still a practice, obviously, that you do?
Well, that is not that unusual. There's several facilities around the country that participate in the Walmart donated meat program, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. It just means that, like, if you picked it up off the shelf and you took it up to the checkout and you decided you didn't want it, they can't return that back to the shelf. So that ends up on the Walmart meat truck. And a lot of facilities live or die by those donations. But we actually, once Joe was discovered to have been feeding that expired meat to customers at his restaurant down the road, Walmart came in and they stripped the park of that program. So we lost thousands and thousands of pounds of donated meat every week and produce that we've fed to all the primates and bears and things. But so now Lauren and we purchase I think it's about 8,000 pounds of fresh USDA grade A meat every week. So
Amazing.
they eat just as well as we do, if not better.
That's so awesome. So I hear that you renamed the zoo. If you could tell us a little bit about why you did that and what you renamed it to.
Well, when we came here, Joe, it was called the Gerald Wayne Interactive Zoological Park. That's what Joe had last called it. After he changed it from GW Zoo to that, he was trying to hide it from Carol's judgment. So when Lauren and I came in, we renamed when he closed his zoo down, we renamed the park the Greater Wynnewood Exotic Animal Park, and that's what it's been for the last 3 years. The new zoo that we're building down in Thackerville behind the WinStar Casino was originally slated to be called the Oklahoma Zoo. We were going to play off of that Oz moniker. And then with the success of Tiger King, our agents and everyone behind us said, you guys would be complete fools if you don't capitalize on the popularity of the Tiger King. So we're going to call it the Tiger King Park, and it will be home to all of the animals that the original Tiger King left behind.
So crazy. So awesome. I love it. I love it. So, and yeah, explain a little bit more about the plans that you have in the future, the new park, how people could get involved, possibly how people could support.
Well, this park was actually built on a total of the property is 18 acres, but Joe only used about 8 of it to build the zoo. And he built this park kind of to showcase the cats in a really close environment. And in doing that, he kind of sacrificed the space that the cats would get. And he was speed breeding these animals, trying to turn them into money, obviously. So when Lauren and I went looking for a new zoo, we picked a much, much larger property and where everyone can have like acre-sized cages instead of these 20 by 20s that a lot of these animals have lived in for years and years. So the best way for people to support would be to not buy the counterfeit merchandise that's all over Amazon and Walmart. Well, it's actually not on Walmart yet, but like the Amazons of the worlds and the Wishes that are selling all this counterfeit, unlicensed product. And if they would actually buy the original TigerKing.com merchandise, that money will all go towards the care of the animals.
So awesome. So awesome. And so, a couple more questions really quick. I wanted to make sure that we talked about a couple of things. So tell me, I mean, you've been to the store, I'm sure, recently. And so are people recognizing you? How is life like after this whole thing exploded?
I can't go anywhere without people asking for pictures and or autographs. It's crazy. You go from being just an average guy to being somebody who they think that they need to revere, and it's crazy. It's overwhelming.
I heard that Joe Exotic was actually scared of tigers. Are you scared of tigers?
You know what? If you're not afraid of a tiger, you're a moron. You know, they're 500 pounds of killing machine. That's what they were. That's what
Yeah.
they were meant to do. And you know, you can be afraid of them, but you can still respect you know, the animal enough to interact with it, and you just don't press your luck. You know, a couple times Joe's pressed his luck. I've been put in the hospital with 400 stitches at one point.
Crazy.
You learn you learn from your mistakes, but you know, I don't, to say Joe was afraid of lions and tigers. I mean, he got in with them, and he carried a gun. I don't carry a gun. I think if you get to the point where you need a gun, it's probably too late. And I've just always flip the coin, and you know, you just don't take stupid risks.
Right.
And a lot of times Joe took, you know, stupid risks to get his gubernatorial or his presidential campaign videos, you know, some shock value, and you know, he paid the price a couple of times.
Let's talk Carol Baskin. Of course, I have my theories. I think the whole world has their own theory, and I think it's a very obvious theory. I want to know what your theory is. What happened, do you think, to Carol to her husband?
Well, personally, I think that Carol discovered that Don was going to divorce her and leave her basically with nothing, you know, none of his fortune, and she wasn't entitled to it. I mean, she didn't help him earn it. She was, from what we've heard and what Joe always told us, she was a prostitute walking the street in Tampa, and Don was her customer for almost 4 years. So, you know, um, her being ingratiated into that lifestyle, I think she was afraid of losing it. And when Don threatened to end that marriage, I think she took it upon her own to find somebody to help her kill Don and dispose of the body.
So you don't think she did it her own?
No, I think her, like Joe, was too cowardice to do their dirty deeds on their own. I think she had help.
That's great. Do you think he was fed to the tigers?
I do. You know, that's the long held belief, and you know, there's a rumor that I can't substantiate, but there's a rumor that shortly or days after Don's disappearance, Carol filed a police report claiming that her meat grinder was stolen out of her commissary where they prepared the diets for the cats. And I think the authorities are looking into that to see if they can actually find those old police reports. But that would be kind of telling if you if Don's children spoke out and said they wanted the meat grinders to be DNA tested, and then the meat grinders just mysteriously stolen.
Because everyone's breaking into homes nowadays and stealing meat grinders.
It's a very popular commodity. You know, you can't get enough. The pawn shops love meat grinders.
Yeah, right. Last question I have. Why didn't you get that amazing scene riding off into the distance on a jet ski? Why was it him?
You know what? I think he has a better agent than I do. I got gypped. Yeah,
That's,
he got the jump on me.
that's crazy. Anything else that you want to share before we end this podcast?
You know, just thank you to everybody who's supported us, and all the haters. Thank you for making us famous. And you know, we're working on another project right now. That's why I'm so tired. Is we haven't slept. It's going to be an exciting project coming out, a reality TV show, and we'll put more details out on the street later.
And after coronavirus is done with, people could come and visit the zoo currently right now. Y'all are open for business. Obviously, after all this is over with, people could come and visit, correct?
Absolutely. The park will remain here until we open. I think there'll probably be a period of a couple days that we'll shut down to transition the animals down to the new place. That's going to be a huge job, but we're going to try to get it done within a 48-hour period. So there's not half the animals here and half the animals down there, but a big
Amazing.
task. But we'll be open up until that point, and then we'll be open immediately after down in Thackerville.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Thank you so much for everyone watching. This is the Kyle Ewald podcast. I encourage all of you to continue to watch and remember to keep God first. See you soon.
Thank you. Take care, buddy.